When we started looking at our own classrooms and reflecting on the flow and the ability for children to learn there, we realized that they were not child-centered, but more adult-centered. The classrooms were set up the way we wanted and what we thought learning should look like. When you think about the environment in a Reggio-inspired classroom, you have to ask yourself 4 questions. What do you see when you look carefully at the details? Is it an environment for both children and adults? Do both children and adults live well there? And is it engaging? Over the school year, we would meet in each other's classrooms, keeping these 4 questions in mind. We would rearrange, tear apart, take down, restructure our classrooms, always thinking about the flow and can children tell their stories there. I can't say that we ever got it right. We kept breaking them down and building them back up every 2 weeks. Every 3 weeks, some things would work and we'd keep them and some things wouldn't, so we'd abandon them. We would bring the children in and let them exercise their brains in the room, seeing if things worked, things flowed, and we kept those things. It's a work in progress, and we're still struggling.
Looking back on the last year, it is amazing to see how far we've come, but the journey is far from over. We are still trying to improve in many areas. The transformations of our classrooms are not complete, and we are lacking in the tools that help our documentation and publish our learning process. We are developing ways to involve and engage our parents and communities, and we are seeking authentic art materials for our students. Regardless of our needs, we are excited to bring back the joy of learning, and our statement for the next academic year is do nothing without joy.
I'm Dr. Sandra Duncan. I'm one of the authors of 2 books, Inspiring Spaces for Young Children, and the Rosie book, which is Rating Observation Scale for Inspiring Environments. One of the things that we took a look at is what makes an inspiring classroom different from the regular classroom. And so we started looking at different elements that helped make the classroom inspirational. Our first principle is nature inspires beauty. Nature does instill this sense of wonder because it's beautiful. And when it's beautiful and you have a sense of wonder, you promote lifelong learning. Our second principle is color generates interest. We know that color can sometimes be an obstacle to their learning. And so what we are saying with color is you use pops of color and you create this natural, neutral background and use the pops of color to generate the interest. Our principle 3 is furnishings define space. There are many ways that you can define areas in addition to furniture. And those furnishings can be decor, they can be a rug that anchors the center. There's lots of different ways that you can define space. Our fourth principle is texture adds depth. Children learn basically through their senses. Children need that texture to explore and to investigate. And so adding texture to the classroom also enhances learning. Our fifth principle is displays enhance environment. And what we mean by that is that we use our children's work to enhance the environment. We honor the work that they do by displaying their work in attractive, aesthetic ways. Principle number 6 is elements heighten ambiance. Things like lighting olfactory, the things that you smell, the things that you hear, and all of those elements create an ambiance for a classroom. Principle number 7 is focal points attract attention. If you would just imagine yourself being a small little child, 4 years old, and opening up your classroom door, what do you think you would see? If you see a focal point, if you see something that excites you and interests you, you're far more likely to be happy about transitioning from the outside world into the classroom. I would recommend these books to anyone who is interested in creating an inspiring space for children. I would recommend it to teachers, to directors, to curriculum specialists, almost anybody that's interested in going above and beyond the Eckers rating scale and creating environments where children can engage, interact with, and be inspired by the space that they reside in day after day.
We're at Hampshire Collegiate School. We're lucky enough to have some amazing school grounds.
We spend a lot of time learning outside the classroom.
And we call it LOC. L-O-C. LOC.
Space to grow.
Space to learn.
Space to explore.
Space to imagine.
Space to create.
Data logging.
Data logging is taking information using sensors. We take information like heart rate, sound, temperature and light. Offshore Earth reading. 32,500. Today we are collecting light levels to see which spots light and which spots are dark, and to see what animals could be living there and the vegetation of the area.
Hold it steady so that the reading's steady.
I like learning outside the classroom because in other lessons you have to stay inside and work in textbooks, but when you go to learning outside the classroom you can explore.
Shake a tree.
Sometimes we shake a tree. When we go outside and we find a tree with bugs in, we shake it and get the bugs to try and identify what bugs they are. I like LOC because it's learning outside the classroom, so instead of everyday lessons in the classroom all the time, we get to go outside to the glade and into the woods.
Alternative Jabberwockies.
In LOC lessons we came out into the woods and we made alternative Jabberwockies out of natural resources. In English lessons we studied the poem The Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll, and we used our alternative Jabberwockies to inspire us to write our own poem about them.
Beware the flubberkey, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the lum-lum bird and shun, the sorriest lock-a-latch.
He took his sluggish sword in hand. Long time the mearsome foe he sought. So rested he by the hubhub tree, and stood a while in thought.